Welcome, SENS Talk.
Russell winds in, feeds it back across the strike and scores! Brady Tkachuk makes it 2-0. Paul Giroux, hit alone, scores!
Tim Stutzel across, Tkachuk score! The captain, Brady Tkachuk, buries it with 1:18 to go.
See you later. Go, SENS, go. Welcome, SENS Talk. My name is Brandon Plant, and I'm your host. Tonight, Belleville takes on the Cleveland Monsters in game number 1 of the second round of the Calder Cup playoffs. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It is playoff time as the playoff run continues for your Belleville Sounders after a huge opening series victory over the rival Toronto Marlies in the Battle of Ontario. Of course, capped off by an epic Game 3 overtime victory by Garrett Pilon with the OTGWG, as Belleville, of course, secured their first ever series win in that opening round series victory over the Toronto Marlies, looking to get their first ever second round win tonight against the Cleveland Monsters, a team in which they've actually lost 3 out of 4 games going into this one. If you look at the regular season matchup, the lone team in the North Division, Belleville has not had a winning record against. Now, of course, Cleveland did win the division. There's a reason why Belleville didn't do as well against them compared to others, but that definitely tells you all you need to know in terms of the test that Belleville is facing in the Cleveland Monsters, a Monsters team that is very well rested after that first round bye for them. Now look, the lineup remains the same for Belleville, but look, while the lineup does remain the same for Belleville, Søgaard starts the net, I want to talk about the net here for a second for both teams. Søgaard, we spoke about this the other night. I put out a great preview video. I might as well talk about this now. I put out a phenomenal preview video with David Foote, the voice of the Belleville Sounders, and star winger Igor Sokolov. Did 2 interviews and 1 big episode last night to preview the second round series here with the Cleveland Monsters. Also recap the first round series with the Marlies and much more. I very highly recommend you guys check it out. Just if you want to know more about the series, and more so, it's a great interview with those 2 OEs, so make sure to check it out. But we spoke about this, David Foote and I, in that interview last night on youtube.com/SensTalk. Once again, cannot recommend it enough. Definitely should check out that episode. But David Foote and I spoke about it, and while the Cleveland Monsters are very deep throughout their lineup, forward, blue line, goaltending, the forward group has some really good players, like Cole Sillinger, for example. The blue line is very good as well. They have like multiple NHLers, some really good prospects, but the crease by far is the deciding factor in the series for both teams, and this is particularly because Cleveland's strength in the crease. Cleveland, whether it's Jet Greaves, who did start tonight, or Malcolm Subban, a former Belleville Bull, by the way, whoever's starting in crease for the Monsters gives them a very good chance to win the game. Frankly, could steal the game for the Monsters. Greaves played a lot of minutes in NHL this year, while Malcolm Subban's bounced around the National for quite some time as well. So they have a lot of experience, and while Belleville has a younger tandem, I'd say both are very good as well. Of course, Søgaard has been phenomenal this year. Not the greatest stats in the first round, but if you look at the goals he allowed, not really his fault. We spoke about that last night in the preview as well. And more importantly, the backup Maryline is also solid. But, you have youth versus experience here, right? So, there's a high ceiling here for the Belleville Sounders, but there's also a low floor. So let's just say Mads Søgaard never really is close to the floor. He's a tall guy, and let's just say he'd be close to that ceiling, especially tonight, and hopefully that continues. But that will certainly be the deciding factor in the series. It's going to be the crease for sure. So with that, that's enough rambling. Let's jump right into the game recap. Here we go to game 1 of the second round, Cleveland and Belleville. By the way, the Belleville Sounders have not allowed 1 power play goal so far in the playoffs going to this matchup. So we jump into the first bit of play, and right off the bat, Jet Greaves is forced to make a couple key stops on the Belleville Sounders. Bokui Mama stopped early on a great pass from Stephen Holiday, a great stretch stop there from Greaves going right to left. Good lateral stop. He also had to make a couple other big stops there. Belleville was really strong in that first period. Well, Cleveland did outshoot Belleville by 1 in that first period, 8-7. Belleville certainly got the plethora of high-scoring chances, and that would continue going into the second period of play as 4 minutes in, after the 5-on-3 for Belleville expires, Igor Sokolov, friend of the show, called the SENS Talk Effect, joins the SENS Talk show last night and puts Belleville on the board tonight. 1-0 Belleville as Igor Sokolov opens the scoring in round number 2 for the B-Sens with his first of the playoffs on the power play with a beautiful patience goal here for Igor Sokolov to beat a screen Jet Greaves. Great pass here from Holiday as well, who gets another assist, his 8th assist in his last 12 games since signing here from The Ohio State. So a great start there For the Belleville Sounders, Josh Curry as well gets on the board with another assist who, speaking of Curry, has been phenomenal in these playoffs. He's been one of those veterans like Garrett Poulin who's been leading the way in the forward core for Belleville. And then 6 minutes later, we do have some controversy. If you're a Cleveland Monster fan right now, you probably have some feelings about this goal or no goal. Angus Crookshank officially has scored the goal to give Belleville the 2-0 lead. Top shelf snipe. First ever playoff goal for a friend of the show, Angus Crookshank. Cleveland with a nice assist as well here. The pass at the Crooker, and Poulin as well got a secondary assist. But this one was reviewed. It was an unbelievable one-time shot and a better celly by Angus Crookshank. But look at your screen right now. We don't have an overhead angle for whatever reason. I do not know why. David Foote said the AHL TV doesn't get that footage. Clearly, they did review it. They called it a good goal. So clearly they saw an angle that, definitively showed that it went to the back of the net. But from the angle we saw, I don't know. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm biased. If you couldn't tell, I'm a SENS fan. I certainly want Belleville to win this game. But, I also got to be objective. And, I'm hopeful. I mean, once again, if there's an overhead angle, clearly if they have that overhead angle, they saw it go in. They wouldn't call it a goal. Otherwise, there's no conspiracy in that regard. But if they don't have the overhead angle for whatever reason, and I don't believe that's the case, when I was in Belleville, I'm pretty sure I did see a camera on top of the net. But regardless, if that is the case, I mean, there is some controversy here. I mean, I saw a lot of Cleveland fans on Twitter not really thrilled about this, and I can understand why. From the angles we saw, I mean, I love Crookshank, friend of the show, absolute beauty. I don't know if that went in. I'll be honest with you. That one looked really, really close. When he took that shot when I was watching live, I mean, I didn't react like it was a goal. I thought it hit the post. The replay kind of confirms that. But I'm just going to assume the AHL has a different angle on that. But let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Certainly a controversy there. Definitely brewing. I'm sure Monster fans have a lot to say about that one. But, if you're a Monster fan, you're probably going to say, puck don't lie. Just over a minute later, Josh Dunn gets the Monsters onto the board to make it a 1-goal deficit for them now. Cleveland draws back on the power play to end Belleville's perfect penalty kill record going to this one. Dunn here out front. Cleven and Madden Paulo leave him all alone in the slot, just like the fathers, the Ottawa Senators. The sons, the Belleville Senators, leave a guy out front in the slot, and of course they capitalize. Going into the third period now, only down by a goal. So we go into the third period of play, and this is where Mads Søgaard takes over, as Cleveland in the third period would pepper him with 16 shots in the third period. After Belleville led in shots 13-8 in the second period of play, it would be all Cleveland in the third period. They'd have a full throttle attack. But, the forwards on Belleville would do a fantastic job in getting in the shooting lanes and blocking shots. The defensemen were, really, really doing a good job at forcing guys to the boards. And the Great Dane, Mads Søgaard, was making some huge stops, tracking the puck so well, as their Belleville Senators win 2-1 over the Cleveland Monsters to take Game 1. And they lead the series 1-0 in the best-of-5 series, as they now have home ice advantage and have a huge chance on Friday night to go back to Cleveland with a chance to be up 2-0 and to only be 1 win away from advancing to round number 3. A huge opening game victory here for your Belleville Sounders. Their first ever second round win in franchise history as well. And the shots overall were 32-26 in favor of the Monsters. But I mean, my goodness, what a night here for Mads Søgaard, stopping 31 of 32. Of course, stopping all 16 in that third period of play as well. We spoke about it at the beginning of the video. The goaltending would be the deciding factor of this series. Jack Reeves was certainly not the reason Cleveland lost, but Mads Søgaard certainly was the reason why the Belleville Senators won this game. Belleville had a lot of good offensive chances. Don't get it twisted, but Mads Søgaard made some huge stops, particularly in that third period of play, to get this huge opening night victory for Belleville. The 3 stars is, once again, just like one of the last game recaps I did for Belleville, the 3 stars is a full sweep by SENS prospects. Tyler Cleven, the 3rd star with an assist. He looked solid after a bit of a shaky series in that first round against the Marlies. He looked good in Game 1. Game 2 and 3, he was up and down, I'll be honest, especially in Game 3. I was watching him in his own end, a little shaky, which is very rare because Cleven is already an NHL guy, in my opinion. Huge bounce back game for him. Crookshank, of course, with the game-winning goal, his first ever playoff goal as well in pro hockey. 2nd star, then, of course, Mads Søgaard, 31 of 32 shots he faced. He stopped is the first star. And a huge opening win for the Belleville Senators, as now look, the final 3 games are in Cleveland. So if Belleville can win the next game at home on Friday at 7 o'clock, they can go back to Cleveland, only needing to win 1 out of those 3 games to advance to round number 3. So a huge victory for Belleville in game number 1 as they take down the Monsters 2-1. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below as always. And with that, I will see you all after the Monsters and Belleville take on one another in game number 2. Besides that, thank you all for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Go Sens, go!